Good morning. We are at lesson 89. If you're coming in right now as a beginner, you're going to wonder why I'm calling these beginner lessons, because we are well into second, maybe even a third year here on some of these topics. Some might be still within the first 6 to 10 months in terms of reading in the Hal Leonard book, but in so many other ways regarding scales, theory, chord knowledge, riffs, and popular songs, we could be well past 1 or even 2 years right now. So the point with all of this is that this whole course has been designed for the beginner who's starting from square one. If that's you and you feel like you've been clickbaited out here into stuff that's well beyond you, then what I would ask you to do is check the links and get back to lesson number 1. I wouldn't expect you to listen to each one of these once and then pass on as though it's a podcast. I would like you to be going over each lesson several times as you work through it over the course of a week or so. If it only takes you a couple of days to advance through certain ones and feel really confident, then that's great. But if it takes you several weeks, then work on that. You can sample other ones along the way. If you're working on your Hal Leonard reading, for instance, and are intrigued by pentatonic scales, go ahead and follow the ones on pentatonics or search out a song you like. Everything is up for grabs, but continue to go back to the beginning and work your way forward. All of the information we're learning doubles back on itself from somewhere else, and we may leave a thought for a little bit and then come back to it as you develop more skills. What we've done throughout this series is build and repeat the theory behind the major scale. We learned early on that it's made up of whole steps, that's 2 frets on the guitar, and half steps, that's 1 fret on the guitar. So the major scale is whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Rhythmically, as you say it, you can kind of have a sing-song way of repeating the whole in there. I emphasize the third one. I've got whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Or you can imagine the 2 wings of this scale, whole, whole, half, separated by a whole step, and then whole, whole, half again. That creates a really interesting symmetry. This whole, whole, half at the end of a scale is the same as the one at the beginning. So we must have a major scale developing itself there as well. We found that out in many ways. We start with the key of C, all natural notes, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. The G lands here at the 5th, and we see a whole, whole, half, so that ending must look like a G scale. So here's your C. We start on the 5th and come down and do a G scale. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp. Several ways to see that. That's your leading tone. You need a half step right at the end to get F sharp close to G, according to our template. The F and G were the middle chords, the 2 major chords, the primary chords, 4 and 5 in the key of C. As they find themselves together at the end of the G scale, the F has to be raised to make it a half step away from G and a whole above E, making it a diminished chord. The C and D then have followed into the middle of the scale. D was a minor chord in C, it becomes a major chord in G. The F sharp is the note that makes this a major chord. In our next key, we would go to D. We take this half, move it up, raise the C into C sharp, the G and the A was minor in this key, become the majors. So going up fifths, we can build up our major scales, we can find our primary chords. You've seen primary chord charts in all these keys. C, F, G, then we start on the G, G, C, D, then we start on the D, D, G, A, etc. I do this, my chart's going downward on the page, but we're going up a 5th as we do so. As we return, we come back up, we go to the 4th and make the new scale. If we're doing scales, we're removing this leading tone. F sharp and G come into the middle. F is lowered to F natural to become the 4 chord. Therefore, if I continue to go upward and I go into flats, F becomes my next key, and it brings the C and the B into it as B flat for the 4 chord. As I'm reviewing this rapid fire like this at this moment, it wouldn't make sense to you if you've never heard it and you haven't studied it, but this has all been developed throughout the courses, so please go back and look at your scale theory if this doesn't make sense to you. If you don't care about it right now and just want to know the chords, that's great too. What we learned from this then is there's a pattern not only in whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, but in the way we make our major chords. First off, we had thirds. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, minor, major. You learned your scale tone thirds a while ago. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, minor, major. When we make those actual triads, the chords, That last minor third is accompanied by a flat fifth, and it's a diminished chord. So we have major, minor, minor, major, another half, major, minor, diminished major for that seventh chord. We haven't even learned a diminished chord yet, I don't think. I avoid them for a long time because we don't need them in most of our music, and we're busy enough with major and minor chords. You've also built up a chord inventory seeing all of these chords in other contexts, but here I want to put them back in the key of F. When we did the key of C, we just inventoried the key of C alphabetically. C, the 2 chord is D minor, 3 chord is E minor, 4 and 5 are primary chords, F and G, so they're major, 6 is the relative minor, E minor. The B would be a diminished triad or a half diminished 7 chord, and the C, exact same template, exact same chord qualities in the key of G, just starting on G. So G is major, A is minor, as it was in the key of C. B is now minor, C and D are the 4 and 5, the primary chords. D could be a D7, E minor, and the F sharp could be a half diminished and going to a G chord. That's if I went up a fifth to G. If C was up a fifth from the key of F, or F is up a fourth from C, these are the chords you get. Still the same pattern, major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, and major again. So F is major. G is now minor. A is still minor. This is fascinating to me. When I go to the key of C, A is minor, the 6. If I go to its 4th chord, F, A is still minor, the 3rd. If I go to its 5th chord, the G, A is still minor, the 2. So in these closely related keys of C, F, and G, that minor chord, the relative minor, is minor in all 3. We've got 3 spots for a minor chord in every key, the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 6th. So as A moves into other keys, in the key of D, it's the major 5th. In the key of A, it's the major 1. In the key of E, it's the major 4. In the key of B, it's raised to A sharp diminished. So every chord will show up 3 times as major, 3 times as minor, and once somewhere as a diminished when it's the 7th. So I paused there, sorry. So we got F, the 2 chord is G minor, the 3 chord A minor. We need a B flat. You've learned we've got this B flat that covers 3 strings with your fingers, 1st, 3rd, and 3rd, with an open 4th string if you like. Or we can cover that note, making a chord that looks exactly like A moved up a fret. Or you could play a power chord, B flat and F, or you can fill it up to your bar chord. Today I'm going to use this B flat and I'll draw it in a bit. C chord, D minor is the relative minor to F, 1, 3, and 2. You'll see me using my pinky on this string most of the time. And E is going to be a diminished triad. It's going to have a B flat in it, or it can be a half diminished 7 chord back to F. So the point is, templates are always the same. Scales are always whole, whole, half. Sorry, major scales are always whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. The chords in those scales, the 1, 4, and 5 are major, the 2, 3, and 6 are minor, relative minor is 6, 7th is diminished, so we have major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, major. Dot, 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 dot. Try to hear the poetry in that and the ability to rattle each of those off. So here I've drawn you some of these chords. There's the F, 1, 1, 2, and 3. You've also learned it with an extra bass note, 1, 1, 2, 3, 3, or a full bar. From here, 1, 1, 2, 3, 3, 1. You know F sharp minor from even our last lesson on Hey There Delilah. If you know F sharp minor, you know G minor. G is 1/2 step, 1 fret above F sharp, sorry. So you move it up a fret. You can move that up to an A minor here. That's the Stairway to Heaven A minor. Of course, the very first full chord we learned was A minor. B flat, I said, we've got all these versions. I drew that, I didn't bother drawing you a C. And there's your D minor, 1, 3, 2, and an open 4th string, which I'll be playing with my pinky. So G's relative minor is E minor, the 6. you go down 3 notes, G, F sharp, E, or up 6, G, A, B, C, D, E. Didn't get to a 6th finger. C and A minor, 1 and 6, relative minor, D to B minor, from Hey There Delilah, Kryptonite, and Summer of '69. Now we have F and D minor. One song I like to see that in. So that's Scar Tissue by Red Hot Chili Peppers. If you've been following along, one thing I'm sure you've noticed is I'm not actually teaching songs note by note, tab by tab, the way you'll find on the internet. I'm teaching them the way they're in my head as examples of showing concepts. So for me, Scar Tissue is a great example of Fs to D minors. I'm not going to stop and go research it again and listen to the exact rhythm to tell you. I'm going to show you the chords and relate them to the song. As you can see, I'm rattling these off one a day. I'm not doing research on them. I'm just teaching you what I would teach you day by day as things occur to me. Another great example of Fs and D minors would be Green Day's 21 Guns, or the one I always like to use is Avril Lavigne's Complicated. To keep these to a manageable length, I probably should have stopped this already at the F scale and the scale tone chords and made this another video, but this won't take us very long. Here's some of the things I love to see about it. Up in the right corner there, you see the 1, 4, and 5, the F, B flat, and C with the relative minor, the D minor. A very natural, normal progression is, and we've heard about this before, the 1 chord to the 5, to the 6, to the 4. 1, 5, 6, 4. You've heard that many times. Here it is, F, C, D minor, B flat, with this little version I developed probably for this song. Then a minor song will take that exact progression, F, C, D minor, B flat, cut it in half and start on the D minor. As you know, I like to probably erroneously tell you you're on the 6, because 1, 5, 6, 4 makes a lot of sense to me, so booting the 6 around to the front and saying 6, 4, 1, 5 still makes a lot of sense. If you establish this as a minor song though, then D minor has to become the 1. In relation to D minor, flat 6, flat 3, and flat 7. I'm still thinking of them really as the key of F. D minor, B flat, F, C. So my D minor has the pinky on the 2nd string, and then to do B flat, I just go from a 2nd fret to a 3rd. F, and C. Once I've done a lot of Fs, a lot of times I'm not going to move my bar finger from when I go from F to D minor, regardless of which finger I'm using. That's how I did that Scar Tissue lick. So if you're just learning guitar and you see this muck, you probably can't tell that's a D minor. This finger, its main job is to cover the 1st string, but it's just laying on the 2nd because it doesn't matter, because this finger has the 2nd string as well. This finger is often replaced by the ring finger, so you'd have 1 ring and 2. If you like that, you can do the B flat by just extending your 2nd finger over from D minor. F, C. The verse then goes not into the 1, 5, 6, 4, but into our doo-wop progression, 1, 6, 4, and 5. Here it's F, D minor, B flat, and C. I've written the chords twice here just because they're going to be twice as long as they were before. The pre-chorus is just taking another bite of all these chords. B flat, the 4 to D minor, the 6, B flat, the 4 to C, the 5. Clearly an authentic cadence, a perfect cadence. B flat, C, and F. Except it's not going there, it's going to the chorus, which is the same as the intro of the D minor. So this is what's called a deceptive cadence. Instead of getting to the F, you get to the relative minor. A little darker. So let's just take a little listen to it. I forgot to tell you that G minor was in that chorus. After you've done this 3 times, D minor, B flat, F, C, you can do your G minor, or I did this one. So G minor to B flat, and an F. It's just a nice example of the key of F, a nice little move to get from B flats to D minors, and a look at various progressions that we've seen before just in a new song. So that's the key of F with its scale tone triads, and I guess we're back to Hal Leonard next time. Have a good day. See you guys.